adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
In favor? Opposed? Carried. New business.
4.1 recommendation that council discuss the mayor's actions on social media.
Second.
Discussion.
No, sorry, your worship, I was just inquiring about the camera.
Should we let them one after another speak?
Well, do you guys have any concerns that you would like to bring to our attention?
Ms. Roberts.
I would like to read, if I could, the statement that I sent. I believe you have.
Put her in front of the camera.
My bad.
Hey, it's just like you're not reading in front of the camera.
Am I on stage? I'm asked that?
Yes.
Okay, there. So I believe you have a copy? Okay. So I'd like to thank you first of all for the time to offer my perspective and experiences with Lorraine. It's McKetty, right?
Okay.
McKetty, okay, sorry. I've been a citizen of Goose Coopy since June 2018. During that time, I've taught school at the elementary. I now teach in Dawson Creek. And I own a small local business teaching private piano lessons in my home. My son and I are both active with community events, and pre-COVID days, we volunteered whenever we could with various groups and initiatives in this community. Over the last few years, I've watched Miss McKetty, thank you. McKetty's, I keep saying machete, and I know that's not right. McKetty's behavior pendulum swing from mildly amusing to shockingly vindictive. Her most recent racist comment on a Facebook group is only the tip of the iceberg and final straw in a long line of unprofessional and immature and sometimes absurd behaviors. I believe I can speak from a unique position on this issue, as when Miss Machete
It's okay, carry on.
posted the now infamous photo, I immediately spoke up, called her up, and asked her to apologize. She refused and then essentially doubled down on her comments, and then several hours later threatened my personal safety and then began to private message me with more of her racist rhetoric. This is why I prepared this statement, and I will show proof of and explain every accusation I've made. Goose Coopy has a code of conduct for its elected officials. It's my understanding that this code became necessary due to a previous mayor's political missteps. I did some quick research this morning. I had hoped for more time to put together a more extensive timeline, but this meeting was called in haste. So I would like to detail the times that I found that she has violated this code of conduct in just the last 2 to 3 months. Keep in mind that I did this in about 40 minutes this morning, searching only one Facebook group. I did not look at her personal Facebook page or her dealings in any other group. The code of conduct opens with the statement that the residents of the village of Goose Coopy are entitled to have a fair, ethical, and accountable municipal council that has earned the public's full confidence for integrity. The purpose of this code is to establish guidelines for the ethical and interpersonal conduct of the members of council. On December 4th, 2020, she posted a photo of a gift basket made up of items from local businesses, which included Redwood, the Liquor Box, and Weed Mart. In the background of this photo, there appears to be a naked man. Small mistake, right? I witnessed at least 2 women, though, go on and comment, hey, Lorraine, you should check the surroundings before posting photos. The comments were immediately removed from the thread, and rather than quickly fixing the error, she just refused to admit the error. The photo is still on that Facebook page. I bring this photo up also to establish ongoing poor judgment on her part when it comes to social media. But I also question whether this gift basket, which is clearly labeled to Lorraine, might be a violation of the Code of Conduct, Section 13, in relation to gifts. I'm not making accusations about this. I'm simply putting question to council after I read the Code of Conduct, whether in fact that gift basket was received from those businesses to the mayor, as that post seems to suggest. Section 6 of the code states that the conduct of members in the performance of their duties and responsibilities with the village must be fair, open, and honest. Members should refrain from abusive conduct, personal charges, or verbal attacks upon the character or motives of other members of the council, committees, the staff, or the public. Section 19 further adds that members shall treat other members, the public, and staff with respect, and shall be supportive of the personal dignity, self-esteem, and well-being of those with whom they come in contact with during the course of their professional duties. Comments about staff performance shall only be made to the Chief Administrative Officer through private correspondence or conversation. Since January 1st of 2021, on What's Happening Poos Koopy Facebook group, I found no less than 10 violations of Code 6 and 19 in regards to comments about how fellow members and or village staff employees, and at least 4 violations of Section 6 since December 1st in relation to the general public. And these violations do not include the lengthy comment thread that started this media frenzy. That thread alone contains at least 11 times where she name calls, belittles, utters threats, or openly mocks a Poos Koopy resident. In the essence of saving time and printer ink, I only included 2 incidents of these violations for the council to review. There's 2 photos where she calls out council members. I chose the ones that were most on the nose, but there's at least 10 that I could find. Photo 4 and 5 show her publicly belittling a resident. So I would now like to dig into the now infamous comment thread that's brought us here today. A local resident, Darlene Supernat, sorry, asked a question. Over the next 24 hours, I see her accused of being rude in her question or hostile towards Miss McKetty. I'm getting it. I would like to remind council and everyone else who might be reading this that only Miss McKetty is bound by a code of conduct. The general public is not. Miss Supernat does not have the expectation as a private citizen to behave in a professional manner. That statement notwithstanding, I saw nothing in the original question that was rude or derogatory in any way. Miss McKetty instantly responded in a hostile and rude manner, which did escalate quickly to other members of the public coming either to Miss Supernat's or Miss McKetty's aid. Both sides started to behave rather poorly in my opinion. My first comment on the thread was simply to state that calm and reasonableness needed to be restored. I did not get a chance to screenshot this particular comment as the post was removed before I could do so. But the comment went on to say that a Facebook group is not the forum to specifically call out our elected officials. There are procedures in place for that. And that most certainly an elected official should not be bantering, rather immaturely, I might add, with a member of the public on Facebook. I stated that this behavior demeans all of us in the community. The comment sat for a while and was liked by other members of the community. I had intended to just leave the conversation at that. But then suddenly Miss McKetty escalated due to a comment by Rose Super.
Same thing, last name.
Okay. Miss McKetty stated that she would help Rose out by posting for herself the screenshot of her racist comments, and then proceeded to do so. No one did that but her. In my shock, I could not hold my tongue. Photo 5 is a photo of my comment calmly stating that Miss McKetty's post is racist and uneducated. I asked her to rethink what she was doing. In photo 6, she responds that she felt she was being blackmailed. I didn't really get a sense that Rose was threatening Miss McKetty with her comment, but I responded that even if that were the case, there were ways for Miss McKetty to respond that didn't include posting an offending photo. I also called for her to apologize if this was a historic post and her opinions on the subject had changed. Photo 7, which might be actually 8, I think my photos are out of sync, sorry. Miss McKetty doubles down on the issues and responds, I call it like it is, and I'm not polished. She had no remorse, even after being called out. Photo 9 is the next morning. After several hours of cooling off period, Miss McKetty came back to Facebook and asked if my real name was Dee Hamer Robb. This issue is extremely problematic for me for several reasons. First, I have a fake Facebook profile under which I have no friends or dealings outside of a couple local groups I need ongoing information from. One is the Poos Koopy group. I have a fake name and no photo because I have an ongoing domestic violence and stalking situation, and I do not wish to have certain people see my activities on Facebook. I have established a small business here in town, and I use that profile to advertise, but I do not conduct personal business there. I had a layer of anonymity created because I have spent time in a local women's shelter and had ongoing RCMP support in my situation. Ms. McKetty somehow researched and not only outed my current name, but somehow discovered my maiden name. This is appallingly terrifying behavior of anyone, let alone an elected official. Not only did she violate my privacy in that act, but she also trampled on the safety net that I've created around my son and myself in this community. Yes, I took a risk when speaking out against Ms. Machete in that post. However, I never dreamed that she would so wantonly attack my safety like that. And I took that risk because the racist rhetoric she was spewing was important enough to speak against. This action was not only in direct violation of several sections of Code of Conduct, it's morally reprehensible. She then private messaged me directly with an article from a right-wing news source that reinforces the racist rhetoric she was spewing on the main page. This message was sent to me at 6:38 on Friday morning. While writing this, I was forwarded a screenshot of Ms. Machete messaging the administrator of the Poos Kubi page. She said she never messaged me directly, which is a lie. I've included a picture in my package. And that she was considering hiring a lawyer to sue me for defamation of character. These messages are happening while she's in contact with Mr. Minalt. She writes up an apology, which in my opinion is hollow and insincere. She's telling Mr. Minalt that she's terribly sorry and willing to make amends while she's sending me news articles, threatening lawsuits, and reveals that she knows my husband. This is an abuse of so many levels of public office, I don't even know where to start. She's harassing and threatening the administrator of the Facebook group. She's personally attacking me and my character. She's calling me a liar in one post. She violated my privacy by posting my private information. I'm still in an ongoing and heated divorce proceedings that have included a stay in the local women's shelter and use of many social programs to weather ongoing family violence that I'm experiencing. And now the mayor of my own town is colluding with my ex-husband about I don't even know what. Maybe these fears seem unfounded, but they're real to me. My movements and dealings in this town have been noted, I've been followed, I've been videoed, I've been recorded. I am in no way suggesting that Ms. Machete is involved. I don't know who is involved, but she outed me on a public forum, needlessly. And then she states to someone that she knows who my husband is. I have a fake name on Facebook because I'm stalked relentlessly when I have a real one. I have no social media presence that isn't locked up tighter than Fort Knox for my own protection. And with one comment, asking for her to apologize, she turns on me viciously and exposes my real name and admits ties to my ex-husband. I can't state strongly enough how disgusting these actions are. We're here to discuss her racist remarks, but I believe her overall behavior and demeanor should be addressed. Her racist remark is, in my opinion, a symptom of a much larger and more serious issue with Ms. Machete. She lacks not only the professionalism and common sense to represent the public as an elected official, but she's vindictive, spiteful, and juvenile. She acts and speaks without thought to the consequences. She has no idea the ripple effect and long-term ramifications this absurd situation will have on my personal life. And I'm just one of hundreds of people that this affects. As a resident of Poos Kubi, Ms. Machete in no way represents my values, my commitment to integrity and community, nor does her behavior reflect what I expect and demand of an elected official. She has in one act thrown my entire life into chaos, confusion, and fear. I had considered not providing a statement for the good of my physical and mental safety, but I'm standing my ground on this issue because this kind of stuff cannot be allowed to run unchecked in our society. Bullying, harassment, threats, racism, and unprofessional conduct, these are not the values that reflect who I am or what Poos Kubi is. Silence on issues as grave as this constitutes consent, and I do not consent to my name or my town being controlled and harassed and threatened by a member of the public, especially not an elected one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. Thank you for the pictures. It's interesting viewing this as part of your submission. I haven't seen any of it before.
While you speak, you need to take your mask
Oh.
off.
Go ahead, Bart.
I'm very sorry about this, but the mayor had me blocked on Facebook, so anything she posts, I wasn't privy to, other than people notifying them, let me know. So I do understand your frustration.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Anyone else would like to make a statement?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for allowing me this time. It's well put together, by the way. My name is Richard Minot. I grew up in Puskubi since I was a kid. I know a couple of people in here. Hold on. My parents live here. They've lived here since 1976. Just behind they're an elderly couple, 81 and 77. I think. I am a First Nations person. I am Cree. I got a phone call early yesterday morning from a number of people about the post in question. I'm sure you all have the picture. Have you submitted the picture of the post?
Yes, I did.
Okay. That picture is 4 photographs of 4 desolate, decrepit looking houses with a comment at the top of it. That comment in that post has been circulated for 20 some hours now, 26 hours. That has gone nationwide, everywhere.
Is this her post, her picture she put on?
I apologize, I'm not sure that it actually made,
Oh.
did it actually?
Yeah.
Yes, it is, this one right here,
It's not
yes.
for- it's
That-
the other
It's under
post
Connie
that she
Gray
shared.
Eyes.
So this is something she forwarded? This is?
No,
something
she posted this on the thread.
She posted that on a social media thread, right?
Okay.
Now, that was forwarded to myself yesterday morning. The reason it was brought to my attention is because I'm an advocate for cultural awareness and education. I created a program. Unfortunately, I don't have books for everybody. But I'm one short, sorry Ken, but maybe anyways. Now with that being said, it was brought to my attention because this is what I deal with. It's cultural awareness, cultural education. So when her post came across my attention, I shared it. Anybody that understands Facebook and its scope of attention understands that when something is shared by 150, or shared 150 times, that is significant. You all familiar with the commercial? They tell 2 people, they tell 2 people, they tell 2 people. This went nationwide within 24 hours. This went to New Brunswick. Now, the feedback that I got from the Métis Association of British Columbia representatives that I spoke to, and from the reserved people that I spoke to, personally, this is not secondhand language. They directed contact me and said, okay, what is going on? Something needs to be done. Here's where we stand as a First Nations group. This is a direct racial assault on who we are. This is, I'm not going to soften any of my words right here. This not only affects her personally, but because she is mayor and she's supposed to represent Puskupi, this reflects all of you. This makes everybody in this room look bad. This makes the village of Puskupi as a whole look horrible.
Agreed.
Okay? Yeah. With that being said, the conversations that I've had with a lot of people, I made it clear that she needed a chance. Okay? So yesterday she phones me 4 hours after I made my initial post. We had a 4-hour conversation where she expressed her remorse, and I say that now because I've since learned different. She wanted to know what to do, and I said, well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to stay off social media. Second thing you're going to do is you're going to issue an apology. The apology she issued was not written by her. She didn't even know what some of the words meant. I had to coax it out of her. Like I said, 4 hours. So that apology was received as I thought it was going to be received. Very few people accepted it. Most people mocked it because they understood me, like she said, hollow and insincere. Now, that being said, at the end of our conversation yesterday, at 6 o'clock, she assured me of two things. One, that she was going to stay off social media, and that she would issue an apology. I offered her my forum, my Facebook page, to issue that apology, because I told her to stay off social media. And a thought leaving her office, and I told her this, was, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give you the chance to prove or disprove your sincerity. She has since disproven her sincerity. 6 o'clock this morning, I got phone calls and messages stating that. People had sent me pictures and said, hey, did you see this? What are we going to do now? What are you going to do? That question is directed at me, because I represent a lot of people, the First Nations communities, the Métis community. And like I said, the reserves are watching you guys closely. What happens here today, what happens going forward, is going to affect everybody in this room. It's going to affect this village as a whole. Second reason I'm here, along with bringing this to the attention in this manner, is this: to offer a path forward. Because this is my thing. As a Cree man, I've spent 50 years of my life dealing with racial insults and oppression. I chose not to pursue a higher education because of it. I've left jobs because of the mocking of my culture. My three default reactions were anger. Never helped anybody. Never. My second default reaction was I would absorb it. That just ate me up inside like a cancer. The third default reaction was quit my job. My default reactions are not uncommon. I'm speaking for every other First Nations person out there that deals with this on a social and a working environment. So when this came to light, that the mayor of Coos Coopee put out such a profoundly insulting attack on the First Nations people, there was an uproar that I haven't never seen on social media. The phone calls I got and the messages that I got regarding this were profound. Couple of things. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Miss McKenny sent me a message. And her words are this: I'm resigning. How many people are aware of this? She sent this to me. I have it right here.
What did you say?
Okay. The second thing she sent me in the same message is, I told my CAO to let you in. I don't know who the CAO is. Okay, did she tell you that?
We had a discussion last night and she threw around the concept of resigning, but it made no decision yesterday evening when I was speaking to her.
She made this decision 20 minutes after we had our conversation this morning. And then she posted this: everyone has asked me to ask you to take down your original post. I don't know how true that is. To me, that's irrelevant whether you guys asked her to or not. I'm not going to. Now, on behalf of the First Nations people, of the Métis community of BC, of those that were directly offended and assaulted by this verbal attack by somebody that holds the status that she has, there's a demand that something be done. And her resignation is just the first step. As the village council, her words and her action of deciding to post that offensive statement is reflecting on you, all of you. And even though Marlene is Métis, she understands well the scope of what she did. It still reflects on all of you. So now moving forward, the question is going to be asked of me, because everybody knows that I'm here. What do they plan to do going forward? I have suggestions. I have suggestions that are going to make a difference. We can either, I can let you go know those right now, take a couple minutes, or we can discuss those later. But I suggest that this does not end with the resignation of Lorraine. Again, on behalf of the First Nations people and the reserves around this area, and there are 6. That's just northeast BC, and there are 4 on the other side of the border: Horse Lake, Sturgeon Lake, Duncan, and Sucker Creek. Those are all within 3 hours. There's 5 more within 2.5 hours of Dawson Creek in BC alone. There's the Kelly Lake Métis community. What is that, 9?
Something like that.
Yeah, okay, well, there's that many people. The First Nations numbers in this area are about almost 8%. Out of that 8%, about 50% live on reserve, 50% live off reserve. Of those 50% that live off reserve, they are scattered. We are scattered in Coos Creek, Dawson Creek, Chetwynd, Fort St. John, Hudson Hope, Taylor, all these communities. This makes a difference. Lorraine's words and her Facebook post means a lot to everybody that is paying attention to this. Now, that being said, I'm going to leave you all with a question that is going to be asked of me. Now what? Yeah. What are you going to do now? Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Richard. Anyone have any questions for either of these 2 people?
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Can I finish?
Yeah, absolutely.
The book that I had given you all, that is, let me borrow this just for a moment. I developed this program starting in October of 2019. It took me 4 months and over 1,000 hours of research, writing, rewriting. I consulted with Miss Connolly at the Dawson Creek Northern Lights College. I consulted with those in gas and oil industry. I consulted with the First Nations communities. And I went from 50 years of personal knowledge and experience in developing this program. There is nothing like it in Western Canada or in Canada that we are aware of. The company I work for is Mountain Safety. We did the research. There is nothing like this out there. This addresses the issue of cultural awareness and education at a ground level. The programs that are out there right now in Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, and wherever else do not, how do I say this? They do not cover the issue like this does. Yes.
What other organizations have you did this with the Peace River Regional District or anywhere else?
TransCanada Energy has an interest in my program. I have to the end of this month to finish submitting my paperwork to them. Dawson Creek Northern Lights College, Ms. Connolly and I were in talks about me presenting this at the college. The contract was signed. The last step was scheduling. Last March I walked in there and they said, hey, guess what? We have to put things off for a year because of COVID. Yeah. The reserves in the area are behind this 100% because they like the idea. They want this. Mountain View Safety advocates this. They promote this. They do the administration work. And anytime that I need, we can do this course there. They will deal with payment. They supply the classroom and all that other stuff.
How long was the course?
This program takes 6 hours. However, with that being said, the intended time is 6 hours. Now, if you look at it, there's a timeline on the front. Chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, and it says at the last one, chapter 4, says estimated local total time workshop, 5.5 to 6 hours. When I presented this program before, we actually went to 7 hours because of the level of interaction that the people gave back. The objective of this program is a few. One is to introduce the people as to who we are as First Nations people. The second is to lead the audience through the progression of the relationship between the First Nations people and the non-Native people of Canada. How that came about, why that came about, the timeline of that progression, what that led to, and the effects of that relationship, and how it affects us now, and where we are today. That's why this was developed the way it was, and that's why I spent so much time developing the way it was. Because there's a purpose for every word that is written in here. One of the other factors of this program is to elicit the idea of being comfortable talking about cultural awareness and cultural indifference. This promotes that. We want people to be comfortable asking questions. The very last thing that I put in here on the last page, on dialogue, it says this: 3 tips to help deal with racism. 1, learn about the First Nations Aboriginal cultures in your area, including their values, beliefs, history, and traditions. And that's for examples. Number 2, become involved. Number 3, most importantly, when you are uncertain about any particular issue, ask. Be respectful in your inquiry. It is best to ask what you think may be sensitive and private. Those things matter. That's, like I said, that's part of the reason I'm here. Now, it is my hope that the whole council subscribes to this program, that everybody in this room takes it, as well as the village employees. Yet here's why I'm going to promote that idea. You're being watched. The village is being watched. Lorraine resigning is only step number 1. That's it. If she resigns and then nothing further is done, it will be seen as the village council taking the approach that everybody else takes. And that is, oh, I'm sorry. Let's sweep it under the rug. Forget it. I said sorry already. That should be enough. It's not enough. I will echo this again. The reserves are watching. Métis Village Council is watching. And when I go back to the people that I'm talking to, I would like to tell them that the village council is receptive to taking a proactive approach to cultural awareness. And I'll ask this question one more time. Now what do you do?
Sorry, I keep asking all
Go
the
ahead,
questions.
that's okay.
You have this, but you have a program where you could go out for the average person, like a PR thing, like people have to learn about this. Like, is there a promotional,
Advertising.
is there a promotional advertising after this?
just for the average person?
Well, right now I'm dealing with oil companies. Right now I'm dealing with oil and gas industry vendors. I have already spoken to the mayor of Dawson Creek. Now, he was giving the impression that he was on board with this. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we're a little restricted, and I understand that. And that lies the problem. Because of COVID, I can't pursue that avenue in the manner that you say. That is the ultimate objective, is to make this program not only available to everybody on the street, but to have them subscribe to this program, and to have this program be made the standard for awareness and education. How many people here are aware of the Truth and Reconciliation's 94 calls to action, or some of them? I'm going to talk about one. 57. The 57th call to action states, and I'm just going to paraphrase here, municipal governments in BC should, they're not bound by this, they should subscribe to awareness cultural learning program. There's $16.15 million given to the province of BC to deal with Truth and Reconciliation's issues. How much money of that did Kuskookee get? I asked this to the mayor of Dawson Creek. Sadly, and disappointingly, he was not very much aware of that. I've done my homework on this. I know exactly what's available. I know exactly what should be available to everybody. Again, so this is where I'm at. So now what? What are you guys going to do? Yes.
We've asked for courses to be able to deal with all this stuff, to be able to understand what's going on.
I'm sorry, say again?
We've asked for courses to be able to understand what the things that are going on, so that we can be more in sync together.
You have asked already, you said?
Yes, we have. We did.
We've had the discussions.
I was told that a program such as this was offered last year to this council, and the council refused. Now, I was told this by Lorraine McKay. Now, I'm going to dismiss that because she no longer has credibility with me, considering her record of the past 24 hours. Yes.
Regional District had a course on First Nations communications a few months back. I don't know whether Lorraine attended it or
Yeah,
not.
she did.
She did?
She never told me she did. I'm pretty sure she.
That's what she suggested that we should take it.
Now, the problem with those programs is this. They are not like this. This is ground level stuff. This answers the questions, the myths, the misunderstandings, the misconstrued facts that the person on the street believes now. This answers it and deals with it in a language that Joe Average can understand. I don't cover anything in my program that's unnecessary. Nobody really cares about the science of the politics. What they care about is what they need to know to be aware and to be educated so they can go about their daily lives without being, how do I say this, unintentionally racially biased. And I have to believe that is the biggest problem. There's so much unintentional racial bias out there. Most people don't want to be offensive. Most people just want to get along. Most people don't know they're unintentionally racially biased. There's a formula that I've been very aware of. It's called the 626 formula. No, I mean, sorry, 262 formula. If you have 10 people in the classroom, and if I use this program as a perfect example. If I have 10 people in a room, 2 people over here, they're going to be rooting for me. You tell them, Richard, your word is gospel. We agree with everything you say. Right on. We're going to promote your program. 2 people on this side, they don't care. They're going to be racist. They don't give an F what is said to them. They're going to say, I don't care. I hate first. I'm going to be blunt. They're going to say, I hate Indians. Blah, 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 blah. That's what they're going to say. The 6 people in the middle, they're going to walk away depending on how I present the material and the context of the material. That matters. I created and developed this program with all that I've said in mind. I worked hard on this, over 1,000 hours. And all the people that have been made aware of this program, First Nations communities, people in the oil and gas industry, all agree that this is what is needed. And Lorraine, I must admit, brought this to a brighter light that I welcome, because we need this. As opposed to being angry, leaving jobs, and absorbing the cultural indifference, awareness and education is the best approach to avoid anything like this further down the road. And I think that's it for myself. I appreciate you guys listening.
Any other questions for Richard? Thank you, Richard. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is anyone else here with a statement that would like to be heard?
Just maybe just to piggyback on Richard, as a teacher, and Marlene and I work together, I think the root of this issue is education. We need to be educated. And when I went to school, we didn't have the things that we have. I'm teaching programs now that I didn't learn in school. I don't know how wrong we've been. And every year that I present more and more Indigenous values in the classroom, I'm shocked by how I myself grew up and the biases that I carry. And I consider myself a pretty well-educated, what I think to be a nice person. But I think we don't know what we don't know. And so when we know better, we have to do better. And today we know better. And we have a chance to do better. And I think he's absolutely right. People are watching. I take very serious today that my 12-year-old son is watching, that I would not let that comment slide. And I'm suffering for it a little bit, and okay. But Indigenous people have suffered for something they cannot change. I took an action and I'm suffering the consequence for it. They suffer because of the color of their skin. There's a difference there. And so we know better, we need to do better.
Kitty. Any of the councillors wish to say anything on record?
You know me. I've worked with the kids in the village for years, so you know that,
I know, Donna.
that I don't have an ounce of bias in my
No,
body.
I understand it, but like I said, the point that I'm making, because the rest of the world does not know the people in this room personally.
Yeah.
So the post in question, unfortunately, puts the village and the council in a bad light. What I'd like to do is I'd like to go back and to the people that I talked to and say, yes, I've been informed that Lorraine is resigning. I've also been informed that the village council is going to take a proactive approach. And one of those proactive approaches, they're going to subscribe to not only the program, but they're going to take further steps down the road. Again, what you want to avoid is just saying sorry and then sweeping it under the rug. You need to avoid that. I will say this. As a village council, one of the first steps that you should be taking is an all-out apology. I mean, on every social and news media and venue that you can possibly think of. You need to separate yourselves from that comment and from her view. That is crucial. And that needs to be done today, now. If not today, tomorrow. By at the latest, Monday. This thing is being watched closely. Like I said, going nationwide in less than 24 hours, because she's a mayor. If she were an ordinary citizen, as my friend here explained, this wouldn't get very far, but she's a mayor.
Thank you, Richard, and I believe that's exactly our intent in convening a meeting today. To that extent, I want to express an appreciation to our CAO for calling this meeting, for initiating this meeting as quickly as you did in response to the recent events on social media. And this is the first opportunity that we as a council get to address this issue, as opposed to waiting for the next scheduled council meeting. So again, thank you for that. And for you guys for your participation and sharing some heartfelt and heartful sentiments with this council. And on behalf of this council, I do wish to offer a sincere apology to all of those who have been offended by our mayor's comments. We can't explain them. They do not represent my point of view. They do not represent the point of view of this council. The village of Pooskoopi, I do believe the history of the village of Pooskoopi is named after Chief Pooskoopi. Pooskoopi. So we have a strong connection with the Native community. Myself, my wife is Native. My mother-in-law is Native. There's just the three of us that live together. It's part of who we are. And not all of us agree with the statements. I certainly don't agree with the statements that have been expressed. We do not condone racism in any form, whether it's subtle, spoken, or written. It's unacceptable. Our mayor's comments are a black mark on this community. As a community, we need to deal decisively with this issue, and we need to move forward, as Richard was saying. So there's two questions that I have that I would like to pose. And it's a great responsibility that's on this council and each of us as councillors in responding to this. Particularly because of the political sensitivity of this issue. We have offended many people. So what's the way forward? And I don't know, I'm gonna need some guidance from our CAO here in discussing what our actions are going to be regarding our mayor. Is this something that we can do on camera, or does this have to go in camera? It's on camera.
Yep.
Now, irregardless, is there any truth, is there any verification to Mayor McKetty's supposed resignation? Yes.
Yep, thank you, Worship. We've received, I just checked my phone to verify an email here as well. We've received nothing official that I'm aware of. So no, she may have communicated that to Mr. Renault, but yeah, we would need something official.
Something would have to come in writing to council.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would think that until that can be ascertained, if that's her intentions, that until that point, I would move that as a council, we remove Mayor McKetty from all boards that she is currently sitting on, any committees, including those of the Peace River Regional District.
And ask for a resignation. Because we're only getting it through messages. We have received nothing.
We can ask for her resignation,
Okay,
You
ask.
should hear her side though.
but she does not have to resign. She does not. That's, am I incorrect in that? She does not have to resign?
It's a difficult situation, Councillor Drover. So council would be within their rights to ask, demand a resignation from the mayor if you see fit. To my knowledge though, yeah, it's up to a public official to actually follow that demand or that request.
Say that, I'm sorry, say that again.
To my knowledge, so the council would be within its rights to ask or demand for the resignation of the mayor.
Okay.
It's my understanding that it would be up to the public official in question to follow through with the resignation.
Okay.
I don't believe there's a mechanism for council to remove the mayor from the position because it's an elected position, but
Right.
yeah,
So the motion is, I made a motion for her removal from committees and boards, including that with the Peace River Regional District. Is there a seconder to that motion?
I'll second that.
Discussion.
After reading some of the statements that have been put out by surrounding communities and regional district, our mayor would be, how would she be working, at what capacity for the village of Pooskoopi?
Barb? No?
I still feel that we need to hear her side too as well.
She had the opportunity to be here.
The, with this motion, she still has the opportunity to discuss this, to discuss the situation with us. This does not say you're fired. This is removing her from her public positions representing the community. And so she can still address the council if she wishes at a further time, and we can invite the public in to hear what she has to say. By no means am I going to attempt to explain her actions or why. Councillor Smith.
I think the light has been on this, and it can't be swept under the rug. It's not a financial decision, it's a moral decision, and I want to request her resignation.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, and if you would, do we have to have a motion for that, or just?
It would be best, yeah, that would clearly express the desire of council to members of the public.
So let's deal with the one issue first, and then we'll deal with the second issue if you wish to raise that as a motion.
I would like to.
Oh, wait, sorry. Let's just finish off this motion that's on the floor. So, yes,
So your motion is to remove Mayor Becchetti from all boards and committees that she currently sits on and ask for her resignation?
no,
No?
there's two separate motions there. So
We
one
did ask
is,
for resignation.
Yeah,
one
you
is
did.
just to
Okay.
remove her as a representative of Bruce Coopey from boards and committees, including the Peace River Regional District.
Okay, so
That's
your first motion.
That's my motion.
Okay.
And that was seconded.
I second that.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll call a vote on that. All in favor?
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Is there a mechanism in place by which the citizens can demand removal? Other than an election, obviously,
I
but
would direct that to the CAO.
Yeah, I'd have to research that, Your Worship. This is a little bit of uncharted territory for me as well. I haven't been in this position.
There is, and you can go through the process of the Supreme Court under Conflict of Interests 101 to 104. And that's quite the legal process.
okay. I was hoping maybe it was a petition or something, so
Can you
many
vote?
percentage of the population or.
So the motion was to remove her as a representative of Bruce from all boards and committees, including the Peace River Regional District. You two are opposed to that?
That's
And
statement.
it removes her from participating in our council?
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay. She would still be
Mayor.
the mayor, and that's pretty much entitled. Can you offer any
Yeah,
further
thank you, Your
information
Worship.
on
Just
that?
to remind council, if the vote is a tie, then the motion's defeated.
Okay.
Can he vote, Vice Chair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so if you don't vote to censure the mayor, you cannot vote to terminate the mayor.
Oh,
But it says who?
She's an elected official.
Okay, but our statement is that,
That would be up to her to resign. That, we can't force her to resign. We can't vote her out. The best we can do is censor her. That is the best we can do as a council.
we can make a motion that we request her
We
resignation.
absolutely, sure, and we will do that. But let's do what we can do and make sure that she doesn't get out there and promote any more hatred, bigotry, and racism as a representative of Bruce Coopey. We don't want that. We
I
can't take that.
understand.
Yeah, that's where we're coming from.
All right, shall we?
I'm concerned, this is really tough because, like Councillor Hebert says, yeah, we're gonna take you off the boards, but she's still gonna be the mayor, she's still gonna be the voice.
There have been previous situations around British Columbia where there have been council members, mayors have been in very precarious positions within their municipalities, and they need to make that decision to resign. It's not up to a council to say, you're out. That's basically what Ken is saying. So, on that note, you're absolutely correct. and I apologize
No, no.
for being slow to catch up.
Well, this is uncharted territory for
First of
us.
all, I've never had that problem.
So,
Absolutely.
um,
Everything that you said.
are we, shall we try that vote again? All those in favor of censoring the mayor? One opposed?
No, I'll go with what councils, but I'm
Not understanding fully.
not understanding
Okay.
why we cannot ask for.
So let the record show at this point that it was unanimous vote to censure the mayor. Now, Councillor Smith, let's raise your motion, if you would like to make it.
I propose that we request that Mayor McKay resign her position as mayor so we can move our community forward.
Okay, is there a seconder?
I'll second that we request.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of the council requesting that the mayor resign? Okay. Opposed?
Yeah,
Do you want that noted?
yes, please.
Okay, so there we go. Does anyone else have anything else that they would like to bring forward at this time regarding Mayor McKetty's actions? Yes.
Should we discuss what a letter to put out to the public?
You know, that's a great idea. That is such a great idea, not only to the public, but to all of our partners in the public, to the First Nations committees.
So Richard could probably help us with that one.
Well, I'm certain he can, but you know, we have to express remorse as a community, and that has to come from us.
So yeah, I know that part, and then, but also, there's also different steps.
You made some really good points. You made, and the points I'm referring to is the fact that your hands are tied to a certain extent, okay? That has to be known. Because if the perception is taken that the council is just going to let this slide, it looks bad on everybody. And now, the reason that I bring that point up is, like I said, if you make it known that you have limited authority as far as removing her from office, that is going to give you some credibility by telling people that there's only so much we can do. So these are the actions that we are taking. We are going to request that she resign. And if she accepts that, this is how we're going to move forward. And Donna and Marlene have also stated that, and everybody here has stated that nobody in this room conforms to her views whatsoever. You just got to put it in a way that's one page, simple to understand, right to the point, no excuses, no justifying, no diminishing or distracting from the issue.
Absolutely.
That's where you're at. But again, the point that you made, that you were legally unable to actually remove her from office, makes a difference. Because if there's a perception that you can remove her from an office and you don't, that will not bode well for everybody, for anybody involved. They will come after you on social media, everybody on this council. And some people think, oh, well, it's a few words. It's not just a few words. The social media outcry has led to people making decisions as far as Pooskoopi goes. There's people that will now come here to pass through Pooskoopi for vacation.
I do believe, Richard, that, and time is of the essence, that this is something that we have to issue like as soon as possible.
May I make a comment? Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Just while we're here, my phone is going crazy. People are continuing to find posts that she's made that continue to be equally as vulgar and derogatory. I'm really just quite shocked. But it's going to continue to happen, I really think, until a really hard line is drawn, that she doesn't speak for us. She doesn't, and the continuing of it because, and yes, this is not within the last 24 hours, yes, it's old posts, but those things are going to continue to come up with no way for the council to say, well, that was a year ago or 6 months ago. It's all very fresh and is continuing.
Okay, thank you. I have one further motion that I think that, or point that I think that we need to discuss as a council. And I think we may need legal assistance here. And I don't know what you guys think, but I think perhaps we should reach out to our lawyer and the community's lawyer to see that what we can do to curb her posting on social media and any negative comments about the citizens of our community. Because that does not, come from this community. It's not reflective of this community. On this council, it's a stain.
There's precedents for that already. I'm familiar with things that have already happened. There is right now an ongoing issue with a person in Dawson Creek who's been making, some not so nice comments on Facebook. The bailiff's officers right now, bailiff officers are right now looking for this person to deliver cease and desist orders. So there's precedent for that can be dealt with in that manner. But again, I'm going to stress this. I'm going on punching it. This council needs to remove itself from her and her words as soon as possible, because this meeting is known. People know that this meeting is going on.
It's on YouTube, Rick.
Let's,
It'll be on YouTube.
Not until Monday though.
Well, the thing about YouTube is this. This takes a while to watch.
Yeah.
You want to put something out short and sweet and to the point? Now.
exactly.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. If it's the will of council, I can try and reach out to the village's lawyer today.
Okay, so do I have a seconder for that motion?
Second.
Okay, and all in favor? Opposed? None? Carried, motion carried. Please do that. Okay, failing that, Richard, if you'd be so kind to stay behind, and maybe you can, with the help of our CAO and administrative staff, help deliver a letter that we could post.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And any letter that's posted, like I said, I could put it on my page as well, which is being followed by so many thousand people. So,
We have to get this right.
well, like I said, because it's known that this meeting is happening, if nothing came out of this meeting immediately, it's just not going to sit well. That's just the way it is.
5, rise and report. Do we have anything? No?
At the least, we should release, do a press release
I'm sorry?
Do a press
Yes,
release.
exactly. This is-
immediately. That way that covers us till Monday, till we
Yep.
can get things up and.
That's why we've asked
Like
Richard
Tex
to
would say.
stay behind, to help us compose the press release. Thank you. Rise and report? No? And
Do your
A motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn. Thank you, everybody.